Let's kick this fucking bitch off. So welcome to the Daft Previews podcast. This is episode 45, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, Luke's still not with me. Old mate's relocated up to the Central Coast somewhere and can't get internet to save his life. Thankfully, I do have a special guest with me. We've got the Maddog straight out of our Discord server, one of the DGens. Maddog, what's your full name? What's your real name? I've been calling you Maddog for years, it feels like.
It's Danny.
Nah, not calling you Danny. It's too close to Dan, which is my name.
Yeah, I know. So Danny Gill is my my full name. So
what about your tax file number? You know that?
734 something bullshit. I don't know.
Well, if you're listening, you got half his tax file number. If you listen long enough, we might get more info out of him.
Yeah.
But Maddog, thanks for joining me, man.
No problem.
I wanted to firstly kick it off by saying thank you. It's not something I normally do with the people from a punting community, but you have been the most faithful degenerate that I have seen over the last 12 months. You back my bets more than anybody. So I want to say thanks for that.
No problem, mate. No problem.
To kick this one off also, if you are interested in joining the Discord, the link's going to be in the description on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So get in. There's more people like the Maddog in there. You're going to love it. Follow us on Dabble, Facebook, and Instagram. Normally I jump straight into my best bets, but I'm doing same game multis this week. So I want to find out more about Maddog. Then I'll share a bit more of my best bets. You guys can take those suckers down, and then we'll preview the round of football. Now, Maddog, age, sex, and location.
So age 34. Sex, definitely male. Location, Brisbane.
Straight out of Brisbane.
Yeah, North Brisbane, so about 20 minutes north.
Okay, all right, wonderful. You've been in the Dark Previews Discord for what, like almost a year or something? 9 months, 9 months.
Yeah, it's closing in on about a year. So
yeah. And what do you think of it?
I absolutely love it. Like I've been part of probably 3 Discords. This will be the third one. The other 2. The first one I wasn't in it very long, but that's where I met Camo.
Bloody Camo comes up in every single podcast this way.
Yeah, he's my boy. I actually shout out Camo. Cam Diddly Doody. And then the second one wasn't too bad, but then just too much drama and stuff like that, which don't really. I'm all for the banter, but when it starts getting a bit cutthroat, then don't really want to know about it. And yeah, man, I love this group. The banter is hilarious. The bets are fucking awesome, especially your bets and Camo's bets. They're the 2 people I follow all the time. And yeah, the community's just great, man. I love it.
Yeah. And look, that was the goal when I created this thing. Like I was thinking, do I go into tipping and charge people for tips, or I thought about it, Luke and I, and we're like, that's what makes groups toxic. Like when you're paying somebody for tips, if it doesn't come off, like you feel like you blame them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
100% agree, yeah.
And I thought to myself, if I just give them out for free, every single tip for free, then it's not on me if it fucks up. You know what I mean? It's risk-free. I'm just sharing what I'm betting on. I'm telling you why I'm betting on it. And it's really up to you whether you want to back it. So
yeah, definitely.
It's great. It's not a toxic Discord. I absolutely love it to bits. Little baby of mine. I check it all the time, which is not healthy. But no, the banter's great. There's more than just me as a tipper now, though. There's how many people in the Extremely Arounds? We've got Cranks. Crank is listening. Up, yeah, Cranks.
He's back with his tennis Maltese now.
He's back. So we've got a superstar in tennis. Yeah. We got Camo who does AFL and racing. Hobbo does fucking everything, apparently.
Isn't it? It's Garth's tips, isn't it?
It's Garth Hobson. We've got the Mock Sports. I do AFL and racing. We've got Woozy. He does racing. He does baseball. He does NBA. He's he's really getting amongst it. We got the last Kai who's knocking out the AFL every single week, and most recently we got Baseball Beck who nailed a very first tip. So it's pretty good. There's no pressure on me to put any tips out, so I'm pretty keen about that. Now we'll get into your bets because you're going to stick around for the whole show.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get to your bets in a minute, though. But
yeah.
Outside of Camo and myself, who are your favourite Discord members? They might be listening.
Look, I really like Hobbo. I get along with Beck's an awesome chick on the Discord as well. Lachlan's always a laugh. But we don't really speak that much, you know what I mean? Like I'll throw like a comment here and there when the banter starts, but
yeah,
I feel like he just ignores me, mate.
Who, Lachlan?
Yeah.
Lachlan, if you're listening, mate, you got to pay some more attention to Maddog,
bro.
I don't know why he called me out the other day. I don't know what that was all about, but I'm gonna have to get him back for that.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, no, everyone's just really cool. Like, but yeah, other than you two, like Hobbo would be the other person that I get along with the most, and yeah, Beck as well. And then all the other boys, like it's good to talk to Curtis here and there in the group and stuff like that, especially when it's soccer related. But lately, I haven't involved myself much with the soccer chat, just because it's been fucking stressful being an Arsenal fan right now. So
I heard I had a basketball game tonight. One of the blokes on my team, he loves Arsenal, and he still seemed pretty upset about it. You want to tell me why? Why Arsenal fans upset right now?
I think the biggest kick in the guts is the fact that Tottenham Hotspur finished just above us and got 4th spot, so they get Champions League. So we missed out by like 2 points.
Oh, jeez.
And they're North London rivals. Like from stadium to stadium, it's probably about a 10-minute drive.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a bit of a rivalry there. So that was a bit of a kick in the guts. But at the same time, we finished 5th, and we started the season really shit. So
you guys couldn't score points or something at the start of the season.
Yeah, we were like bottom. We were in the bottom half of the table for a little bit, and then picked up, and then shit run again, and then we just picked it up again. And to be honest, being an Arsenal fan, I'm proud of my team because I wasn't expecting to be in the top 5. I would have been happy to be, like I thought 6 or 7, something like that. But I'll take top 5, and we were 2 points shy of 4th. So. And at one point, we were pretty close to Chelsea on 3rd, but we fucked that up. So,
it sounds exactly like the Broncos. That's how I feel right now about the Brisbane Broncos. I would have been happy if we made the top 8. We're basically tied 4th at the moment, but if we get close,
good start with the Bronx have started really well though this season compared to last.
Oh, absolutely crushing it. And we'll talk more about the Broncos soon. But next question for you. You're someone who has great commitment to your stake. Like most punters, they stake like fucking lunatics, especially if they're chasing or even after a big win, people raise their stakes and quickly give it all back. You're quite committed to keeping your stakes at a certain level. What's your biggest win on the punt?
My biggest win was probably a $5 tip, and it was one of those popular multis in Sportsbet. Yeah. And it was an NBA one as well. So I think it was like a 15, 16 legger. I ended up getting about $3.50 for it.
Fucking hell.
That happened once.
Yeah. But, and you're a man who loves the popular bet section, eh?
Oh, like if it's really high odds, but like not so, like sometimes you look at bets and you're like, there's no way that's going to hit.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's really high odds, but you're like, there's a possibility. My bets, throw $5 or even go lower, $2.50.
Yeah.
And you never know. So there's been a few $2.50 bets that I've hit and ended up getting over $100 from it. So
it's massive odds. If you're getting like $50 odds or whatever, fuck, it wouldn't chuck much on it. So
yeah, that's why it stresses me out when I see Tabs' bets. Like, fucking hell. Like I look at him, I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking have a heart attack for you, bro. Like
sweet Tabs, young Toby Lee, 5K stakes, 10K stakes. I think sometimes 20K stakes.
Yeah, it stresses me out.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked. I don't know. Some people, bro. Everyone's got to stay in their lane, right? You stay in your lane.
Yeah. Look, if I'm super confident, I'll throw like $15, $20 on a bet. that's a lot of money for me. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's not like it's just I just can't. I could put $50 on a bet. I can put $100 on a bet,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid that if I lose that, it's just gonna I don't know. It's gonna hit me a bit more. I
Yeah.
don't think I have that that strength to be like, oh, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake, like I'll probably be like, oh, I'll go to general shit talk and be like, boys, taking a break.
I'm taking a break. Hey, there's a lot of people that take breaks, and I do recommend a spell from time to time. But yeah, there are
Yeah.
some people out there just they have that strength.
Yeah, and I've set deposit limits on all my betting accounts. So
Yeah,
if I
which is
do
smart.
hit,
It's a smart thing to
yeah,
do. You
yeah,
don't want to
look,
end up like what is his name, Uncle Garth Hobson. He does $1,000 bets sometimes, $50 bets. The bloke's a
I love
lunatic.
it. Yeah, 250 bets into 500 or 500 into over a grand.
Yeah. Hey, well, as long as we stay in our lane, we stay happy. The punt's all
Yeah,
about
that's
having
right.
fun, right? You don't want to
Mm.
get to a point where you need the money because that's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah,
We've got a
that's
few comments
yeah.
comments in the chat for you, Mad Dog.
Okay, yeah, shoot.
Um, First honcho wants to pay his respects for me knocking down them Carltons like water. Thank you. Crank says the boys. Uncle Camo says ass and hole.
Yeah, he can
Um,
fucking fuck off.
Delta's in. He says, "Yeah, the girls." I'm surprised he didn't say how old because we're a bunch of old dogs roaming this Discord.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
but
87, bro.
hey, nah, see, nah, you're old as shit. Like I was still born in the '90s, like on the
Yeah,
cusp.
well, technically I'm a 90s baby. Like I was 3 years old, and then it was in the 90s, right? So
Yeah,
it's
no,
October
it's
'87, so really I only lived 88, 89,
pretty
right?
much 88. Yeah, that's true. Your mate Lachlan says, "Love you, Mad Dog." Those are just words, Lockie. Just words. We need to see a bit more active in the chats, mate. And Uncle Camo says, "Cooksy." Let's get into this podcast. Before we do, tell us about this whole ceiling fiasco. So,
All right.
tell us all about it.
So basically, what happened was me and the misso we went grocery shopping, came back. Everything was fine. Like there was no bulges coming from the ceiling, no cracks, nothing.
Yeah,
So obviously it's been raining like a mofo here every day. So she's hanging up all our washing up in like a makeshift clothesline inside in the living room,
yeah,
and I'm putting the groceries away in the fridge, and literally put the last of the groceries away in the fridge, slammed the door, and the kitchen's connected to basically the living room. As soon
yeah,
as I slammed that door, I just heard like a massive bomb go off. And it happened probably less than 5 seconds.
yeah.
Like it was that quick. And I turned around and my whole living room ceiling was on the floor, like over my couch, over my dining table. And then my misso was underneath it.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so and she was really lucky, man, because it actually hit her in the back of the head, but
Wow.
she doesn't remember much because she goes, she felt something on the back of her head, and then 3 seconds later, she kind of woke up and she was on the floor, is how she describes it to me. And
Fuck.
plasterboard actually weighs a shit ton,
Yeah,
like especially that much. But
yeah,
what saved her was when she actually hit the floor. She was near the couch, so it kind of
yeah,
made like a cocoon
yeah.
and kind of saved her. But if she was sitting on
Jeez.
the couch or anything like that, like it would have been a lot worse. No concussion, thank God for her and stuff like that, and she was safe.
Yeah,
Just a few bruises. And then I thought my two little dogs were fucking squashed to death. Like
yeah,
they were right next to her at the time as well, but they actually ran out just before. Well, God knows they must have ran so fast out of there. And
yeah,
we're like I get my missus out first, and then we're freaking out, going, "Where's the dogs? Where's the dogs?" They're not answering,
yeah,
and both of the dogs are in the garage, not moving. They're just shitting themselves. And
yeah.
my old girl outside, my staffy, she's just sitting there, just like wagging her tail, going, "What the fuck's going
She doesn't know what happened.
on?" Yeah, and what's even crazier is no water leaks. It was dry as a bone. It was that
Wow.
it was that dry to the point where you could see plasterboard just in the air.
Yeah,
There was no water, nothing, and even the insulation, it was moist at best, and that's it.
yeah,
So they don't even like the cleanup crew that came, the SES crew. They were like, yeah, so not water damage. we actually don't know, mate. And I was like, yeah, cheers. So the assessor comes out tomorrow to basically assess the house and let
Yeah.
me know what the go is. But yeah, man. So that was that Saturday night. I was like,
My
holy shit.
lord.
Yeah. So,
For a moment, you could have thought you were a victim of a terrorist attack or something. Fucking
oh,
hell.
it sounded like it. It literally did. Like, and all the ducted aircon was
Yeah.
hanging off, and all the lights were just hanging off, and it was just crazy.
My God.
It took
And then
a,
what
it
did you?
took a, it took us about 8 tries. We mopped the floor 8 times to try and get the
Yeah.
plasterboard off the tiles as well. It was
Yeah.
just fucking everywhere.
Jesus. So what? There's
Yeah,
just no ceiling at the moment.
it's a
Yeah.
makeshift ceiling. They've used like this plastic
Oh, okay.
cardboard stuff, and then they've given us some temporary lighting, but because of all
Yeah.
the floods and stuff like that, um, we're low priority because it's not water damage.
Yeah.
So it might take, best case scenario, they reckon new ceiling 3 months.
Fuck.
Worst case scenario, we'd be waiting about 6.
Jesus.
I know, right?
Hey, that's some old man problems. Like, thankfully, no one was hurt, but
Yeah,
if
and thanks for house insurance as well, eh?
yeah, you got to get those. I've been paying for house insurance for ages in 2 different properties, and I'm like, fucking hell. Funny story. I don't want to go on for too long, but I've got a investment property up in Queensland.
Yeah.
Last year, it was like March when all the floods and shit were happening.
Mm.
I get a call from my real estate, and the real estate goes, "Your tenant just called me, and he said the house has collapsed." And I'm like, "What the fuck? What do you
Shit.
mean that? What?" And they're like, "What do you want us to do?" I'm like, "Why the fuck would I tell you? I don't know what to do. You fucking work in real
Yeah,
estate,
you
sort it
fucking
out."
work.
Like, I'm in another state, and you just
Yeah,
told
I
me my
know.
investment property's collapsed.
Oh, mate, that would have been Devo. Fucking hell.
Yeah. But what actually happened with all the water and shit like that, there were a lot of earth movement, so the foundation was fucked and was off balance. So the
Yeah,
house
yeah,
just tilted a little bit. But
yeah,
the tenant obviously panicked, packed all their shit and left. And then I'd normally say, thankfully, I had insurance, but the insurance didn't cover it. So I was fucked. Like, it cost me
yeah,
a mint to fix it. I lost so much money in rent. But mate, we get old, right? And we got some real problems
these are the
financially.
problems. Yeah, yep, that's it.
Yeah. Fuck. Interesting story. Maddog,
Yeah.
who do you want to see on the podcast next week?
Um, Delta.
You
Let's
want to
get
see
him on.
Dane?
Yeah. If it's not him, I'd love to see War Daddy,
War
because I
Daddy.
I actually I love his just
You
shit
love it.
talk. I just love the shit talk, mate. I love the shit talk. Like, I mean, when I was talking in the soccer chat when the Arsenal game was on last, and he was just talking shit, and I love it. It's fucking
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
I know. He's,
So
he's
yeah,
pretty good value.
I'd love to see that banter on the podcast for sure.
Yeah, he won't pull no punches. All right, Delta, War Daddy, you've been summoned. Let's see who answers the call, eh? Now let's get into this round of football, shall we? Firstly, how many bets do you have?
4.
4? Are
Yep.
they multis, same game multis? What are you thinking?
They're not same game multis, but
Yep.
there's only one same game multi, and that's the Broncos game that I've
Okay.
got. Other
All
than
right.
that, they're all different.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Well, let's kick it off. Why don't you tell us what your multis are,
Yep.
and save the Brisbane Broncos same game multi for when we get to the Broncos game.
Yeah, sweet. All right. So this is my safe bet.
Yep.
So safe bet, we've got the Panthers and Broncos and Storm all win.
Yep.
$2.05. It's not big odds. You can boost that to 211 on
It's a
Sportsbet.
double up, mate.
Yeah.
Tabs will chuck
So
10, 20K on that. We'll laugh it.
yeah. So, and I figured, like, they're pretty solid choices really for this game. Surely all three should do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So um, this one's, I've actually put a tenner on this one because I'm a mad cunt. um, so this is $6 odds. Melbourne Storm 13 plus, Panthers 13 plus,
Okay.
Broncos win, Rabbitohs win, and that's about $6 on Sportsbet. You can boost that to 666 unless the odds have changed. So
I fucking rate that, eh?
Yeah, like the only thing, the only one I'm worried about, I guess, is Storm 13 plus against Manly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could go either
Well,
way, I guess, but
I'll tell you more. I've got a lot of insights on all the games, so
yeah.
I'll get to that soon and hopefully give you a little bit of confidence.
Now I've got a yeah, let's do it. And now I've got a try scorer bet, 4 legs.
Okay.
So Storm game, I've got Coatsy, so Xavier
Yep.
Coates, anytime. Penrith Panthers, I've got Brian Tuhu.
Okay.
Oh. Rabbitohs, I got Johnston. And Broncos game, I'm going Cobbo.
Oh, how hot is Selwyn Cobbo?
Oh no, right? He's fucking on fire at the moment.
He is. And how much does that pay?
That's $7.24. Boost that to $8.21, but I actually put that bet on Ladbrokes.
Okay.
Boosted on Ladbrokes, you get $13.
Wow.
Yeah, so massive odds on Ladbrokes for some reason. Not sure why.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you looked, Ryan. That's what a lot of
Mm,
people that punt don't do. They don't check the odds on different bookies because
yeah,
you'd be surprised how much extra value that you can get out of it. You know?
it was crazy. I just couldn't believe it was a big difference. Tell you that.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
smart that you
then
did that.
yeah, and then the last one's the Broncos game, but I can leave
Okay.
that.
We'll leave that till we get to the Broncos game.
Yep.
Well, let everyone who's listening. I've got 4 same game multis for my best tips. 4 same game multis. I'll get to each one when we get closer to the game, but as a little bit of a teaser, um, I do same game multis for basically every game of the round, and I normally hit 6 of them, right? 6 to 8 of them, and it's usually like $2 to $3. Nothing amazing. And I usually use those as my safe bets, and then I bet a little bit smaller on more aggressive plays. So I've already put together 4 same game multis for the games that I like. And if I combine all those multis, I'm looking at, if I power play it, $120 odds. So just a little bit of a teaser that this podcast might be worth listening to each breakdown so you get a taste of these same game multis and just throw a dribble on it. Just a little bit, I'm using sports bet, so obviously you use your bet returns on this. I'm laying $50 on each one of them. But combined, we're looking at $120. So it's pretty arousing, it's pretty moist, and I'm pretty confident it's going to hit. So
Yeah, I'm gonna throw
let's get it.
$5 on that.
I fucking hope you will, mate. You can tag me in it when it lands. Don't worry about your insurance for the fucking roof.
Yeah, I know.
I'll pay for it. All right, let's get into the very first game. The first game, we're looking at the Melbourne Storm versus the Manly Sea Eagles. This game's in Amy Park on Thursday evening at 7:50. Melbourne paying $1.18. Very short favourites. Manly at $5. The line is 14.5, and total points are over 40.5. So key stats, I've got Manly's actually covered the line in 5 straight games at Amy Park. But at the same time, Melbourne has actually won 10 games in a row against Manly, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Melbourne have been pretty average the last 2 weeks. Do you know why?
What was that?
They haven't had Jerome Hughes. So it's pretty much the same reason we've seen a lot of the shitter teams get a lot better this year. Cowboys bought a new 7. Broncos bought a new 7. Cronulla bought a new 7. It's also the same reason why some of the better teams are pretty shit. Roosters don't have a 7. Rabbitohs lost their 7.
Yeah.
The Titans, they gave away their 7 to Canberra. Like, it just shows how important that 7 is. Melbourne have Jerome Hughes, who's one of the best 7s going around, and Penrith has Cleary. So it's the power of Jerome Hughes. So Jerome Hughes is actually back this week, which is a good thing for you, who's picked
Yes.
Melbourne to win.
Yep. And 13
Pappenhausen
plus.
is still out, but with Jerome Hughes, he'll fix all the problems that they have in attack. Manly's also without Tom Trbojevic. He's pretty much out for the season, out for the next 5 months. So that also
That's a big
supports
loss
you.
for them.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big loss. I personally don't have a play on this game purely because I can't find the value in it. Like Melbourne are paying $1.18. And look, they should win and they should win comfortably. I do like the 13 plus, but when I was looking at same games, I was thinking Melbourne 13 plus, total points should be, you could pick something like 34.5 points. There should be a lot of points in it, but then it was hard to find that third leg. And I kind of want to avoid try scorers as much as possible because it is a bit of a scam.
Yeah.
And with the Storm, like it could be Coates. Well, actually, Coates is a good shout because Hughes is back. Hughes and Coates play on the same side of the field, and Coates hasn't scored since Hughes has been out. So
Could you go like a third leg? Could you do like first try 8 minutes or later or something like that, or
well, I
that
know I
much?
do that sometimes, right? But
I know you do that because I follow you.
and when it hits, you're like, fuck yeah, 1 out of 3 legs is already done. But at the same time, when it flops, you're like, oh, now that I'm watching this game with no bet alive.
Yeah,
So I
it kind
kind
of
of,
ruins the game.
yeah, I try to avoid it,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I probably still will do some of those over the weekend, but I haven't put those in any of my bets for this podcast. So I just
yeah,
thought there's no value in it. I will still bet on it. So Maddog, don't worry. I will have a same game for you by the time it starts, but it's not going to be one of my best bets of the week.
yeah. That's cool. All good.
Yeah, but I think Melbourne should win and win comfortably. But at the same time, Manly play okay without Turbo, but Melbourne have been terrible for 2 weeks. They have to fucking bounce back. Like it's a really
Yeah,
important
yeah,
game for them, especially as we head into Origin. They kind of have to rack up the wins while they can because they're going to lose a lot of players.
yeah. True.
They're going into Friday. Your filthy Friday. They actually have the best game of the round at 6 o'clock. Like I'm normally biased and say Broncos, that's the main event, but they honestly have the best game at 6 o'clock on a Friday, which is fucked because I have a work thing out in the city and I probably won't get home in time to watch it. So I'll be probably watching KO on my phone, being an antisocial dog. But we got the Penrith Panthers versus the Cowboys. Panthers are $1.25. The Cowboys at $4. The line is 14.5 points. Total points, we're looking at 41 and a half. Key stats on this one, we've got firstly, not a key stat, but both teams are in fucking amazing form. Like, amazing. The Cowboys, like in earlier podcasts, I was talking shit about the Cowboys because they bought Townsend, who's not that great. Dearden was a reject from Brisbane. But the Cowboys have, I'm fucking happy to say I was really wrong about that. Dearden's playing awesome. Drinkwater's brilliant. Townsend is what they needed. Then the coach has done a wonderful job. So I'm eating shit on that one, but I can give them the
The,
respect now.
the Cowboys are paying $4 for a win as well.
I know. It's fucking crazy, right? The
Mm.
Cowboys have won like 7 games in a row or something? Like it's they beat a lot of shit teams.
Mm.
So, and that was the knock on them before last week's game. Before they versed Melbourne, the only good team they actually beat was Parramatta, but they
Yeah,
flogged
yeah,
them. And then they came up against Melbourne and they absolutely smashed like 30 points or something. So,
yeah.
but it was Melbourne without Hughes. We've got to keep that in mind. But it's not the Cowboys' fault that Hughes was out. So, some other interesting stats. This game being played in Penrith, and this is why the odds are so short.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Home advantage.
yeah, well, Bluebet Stadium in Penrith is a bit of a fortress. So
Yeah,
Penrith have
okay.
actually won 21 from their last 22 games there.
Fuck. Okay. Yeah. That's a good record right there.
It's a great record. And
Mm.
Penrith, I think they lost at home more recently against Parramatta.
Oh, okay, yep, yep.
So when Parramatta beat Penrith, that was in the fortress, and that was like their only loss in over a year in
Jesus.
Penrith. So they're freaks. Like, and it's their defense. Like, I don't know if you watched the game last week against the Roosters. The Roosters like expected to play better
Yeah,
because they were in good form. But Penrith, I was watching the game, and in the chats, I was saying Penrith are just fucking elite. Like the Roosters didn't even play that bad, and Penrith beat them by 20. Like they're so fucking good.
there you go.
But the other thing to keep in mind, I've got some key stats. They've had the last 4 games against these two teams have actually been quite low scoring.
Yep,
But
yep,
keeping in mind the Cowboys' attack was terrible and Penrith's defense has always been amazing. So that's probably one thing to keep in mind.
yep.
But so, in the last couple of weeks, the average points per game in every game has really skyrocketed. So you don't want to back the unders in many games this week. That's one thing I'll say. The Cowboys are missing Jason Taumalolo and Kyle Felt as well. So Taumalolo is their best forward and also their captain.
Felt's gone, yeah. There you go.
Felt's gone, who's an excellent winger, but at the same time, they do have a spare back where they got the hammer on the bench, who should be starting. They just can't find a spot for him, so he'll
Yep.
take Felt's spot, and they won't miss him too much. But JT is a massive loss in the middle, and Penrith have no injuries whatsoever. So
yeah, really, you'd think it's Penrith's. It's basically
yeah,
all in Penrith's side. So
yeah. So I don't have the same game on this one for the same reason as Melbourne.
yeah,
Like the Cowboys only have like 3 players that score the majority of their tries, but
yeah,
I don't want to. The value on him is good, but fuck, Penrith don't allow many tries. They're number one in defense by a long margin this year. I think they only allow 12 points a game or something, or not even.
yeah.
And at home, it's even better. So
So
I
13
like.
plus is looking all right on that one then.
Yeah, well, I think
Right?
in Penrith's wins, I think they've got 10. They're 10 wins and 1 loss. 9 of
Yeah,
their wins have been by 13 plus or more.
yeah, I
So,
love it.
and the one that they didn't go 13 plus on was a game earlier this year, and Nathan Cleary wasn't there. So,
Yeah, all right.
and even with the Cowboys have 3 losses. I think 2 of those were pretty close, or 2 of them were floggings actually, but they were a long time ago, so they're a different team. But yeah, we'll see. The problem there is the Cowboys may not score many tries. So might get 1 or 2 tries,
Yeah,
but Penrith have been putting 20 plus, 30 plus points on every single week. So, and they really wear teams down and they test your resilience. So we'll
yeah,
see.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, but no play for me on this one. So I will have something before the game, but nothing to share on this podcast.
yeah, cool.
Now, into the game we've all been waiting for.
The Broncos.
Up the Broncos. So we've got the Broncos versus the Gold Coast on Friday evening. Kickoffs at 7:55. Broncos at $1.39. Gold Coast at $3. The line is 7.5 points. Total points, we're looking at 41.5 points. Before we get to your best bets, I'll share a couple of key points. Brisbane have won 5 straight games. Adam Reynolds is out with a hamstring injury. Ezra Mann maintains his spot in the halves. Phil Simons out for the Titans. David Fafita is also named on the reserve, so he's a chance to play. But Brisbane played without Reynolds last week. They didn't play that well, but they still won by like 20-something points. So
Yeah,
absolutely thrashing the Knights. The Titans have won 3 of 11 games this season and only 1 of their last 8. Now, Mad Dog, give us your bet. Give us your same game multi. What's your bet on this one?
all right. So it's a bit of a roughie, but
Better
I've
be.
gone anytime try scorer 4 legs. Cobbo, Stags, Oates, and Farnworth.
Both wingers and both centers.
Yeah, and
Is
the
there?
only reason I've done that is, look, it might be a close game, but I'm hoping that Broncos just go out smashing Gold Coast. To be honest, that's the
I'll
only
be hoping
reason.
for the
But
same thing.
yeah, so yeah, fuck the Gold Coast.
What's the odds on that, on those 4 legs?
So 11.50. Obviously, you can do a bet return on that on Sportsbet, and you can boost it to $13.
Okay. That's pretty
Now,
rare.
as I said, and I recommend to everyone in the Discord group as well, check Lads or Neds as well, because as I
Yeah.
said before, I getting that $13 odds bet compared to $8 on Sportsbet for my last one was crazy. So
Yeah. So which one did you go with? Which bookie?
on that one, I've actually got my deposit limits maxed on Sportsbet, so I had to fucking put it on Dabble.
So you could potentially get better odds elsewhere.
Yeah, well, like the Dabble odds were slightly better than Sportsbet, so I think that was
Okay.
about $12. I'm pretty sure on that. But yeah, I had to do Dabble because it was my only option.
Yeah. No, I understood. Hey, one thing that'll help you out is the Titans don't like tackling anybody.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah, I was right. Straight $12 odds on Dabble if you want to put it
yeah.
on Dabble as well.
Okay. All right. Pretty hectic. I don't have the same type of value that you do, but I will have something similar come game time. So my multi on this one is it's firstly paying $3.40. I think I've got 4 legs on this one. So first one, I'm taking Brisbane to win. The reason why I haven't taken any line or 13 plus is the Titans are known for a second half comeback. They lose all
Yeah.
these
Okay.
games, but like they can go down 20-0 by halftime and they always seem to come back. They don't
Yeah.
win,
Okay.
but they come back and they make a game out of it.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm playing it a little bit safe in that regard. I'm taking Gold Coast plus 13.5 in the first half. And that's because Brisbane are slow starters without Reynolds. Their attack isn't very creative. And especially in the first half, the Titans will be fresher. So there'll be less fatigue. So the defense should be a little bit better.
Yep.
I expect the Broncos to run away with it eventually. But in the first half, I'm picking the Titans to keep it close. And that really just drives the odds up for this multi.
Yeah. Okay.
The third leg is for the Gold Coast Titans score under 18.5 points. The reason being is the Broncos, I think they're fourth this season in points allowed, and that's
Yep.
behind Melbourne, Penrith, and the Cowboys. So the top three teams. The Titans' points per game is the fifth last in the competition. So they average 16 points per game, and they verse some shit teams as well. Up against one of the better defensive teams, I don't see them scoring more than 18.5. So they need to score 4 or 5 tries because their kicker, Toby Sexton, he only kicks like 57%, which is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
even if they do score, he's probably not going to kick them. My fourth leg is for Corey Oates to score a try. Firstly, Corey Oates has scored 10 tries in 11 games this season. For the Gold Coast Titans, they've conceded 45 tries this season. 56% of those tries has come on their right edge where Corey Oates is going to be attacking. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
which is
And
massive.
he got it. He got a try last game as well, didn't he?
He did. He's in great try scoring form.
Yeah.
So, I guess he's been very consistent with Cobbo. He's getting the headlines. One interesting stat for Cobbo. He's got 9 tries in 11 games this year. But in those games where he scored a try, he's never stopped at one. He either gets 2 or 3 tries.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. So, I'll probably take him for a double come game day because he's an absolute freak. When he's on, he's on. But yeah, I'm looking at $3.40. If you're using Sportsbet, you get your free bet return. If you're listening, get straight onto that. Book it nice and early before the odds drop. The very next game, though, it kicks off your slutty Saturday. It's at 3 p.m. It's going to be fucking disgusting of a game. I think I was talking about Hobbo. I was talking to Hobbo about this game last week, and it's something you don't want to touch. Like this is like it's like going into a brothel, and they only say we've got one. We've only got one lady available. Like this is the last one left. Like you might be desperate, but don't touch this one. So tonight to be Warriors. The Warriors are $1.77. They're favourites. Newcastle at $2.05. The line's 1.5. Total points are 40.5. Adam Fanua-Blake is out for the Warriors. Jake Clifford is partnering Milford in the halves. Bradman Best is out after dislocating his elbow. Both teams have won 1 out of 5 games. And I've typed in here that I've got no play on this one. Shit teams produce shit results for punters. Like, honestly, I can see the Warriors winning by 20. The Knights could win by 20. It could be a close game. It could be a lot of errors. There could be a lot of points. Like these teams,
random game
points.
basically.
Yeah. Like it's unpredictable. This one, both teams could struggle to score. It could be like 12-10. Like, yeah, like I've got no confidence in predicting how this fucking game's going to go. So I'm personally not touching it at all.
The odds look pretty disgusting as well.
Yeah, I can't find anything. Couldn't tell you a try score. I couldn't tell you total points. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. Like I've got no fucking idea. Yeah, anything you want to say on this game?
I'm not going to touch it. I'm looking at it now on my other screen, so I'm just everything in this, even the anytime try scorers, I wouldn't touch. The odds are just shithouse.
Yeah.
So it could be anyone's game, really.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest games to avoid this week. Or there's another one on Sunday, but the good thing is this is the first game on Saturday, so you get some better games later in the afternoon and the evening. But that very first one, look, feel free to make late lunch plans. That's going to cover you past 3 o'clock because there's no rush to get home for that one.
Yep.
The second game on your slutty Saturdays at 5:30, it's the South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the West Tigers. Souths are $1.45. The Tigers are $2.75. The line is 7.5 points. Total points you're looking at 41.5. In terms of the lineups, we've got Cam Murray. He's listed on the reserves for the Rabbitohs. He might be included. He had got shoulder surgery not too long ago, but he might be back. Mark Nichols is back for the Rabbitohs. It's his first game in 8 weeks. For the Tigers, Dane Laurie returns at fullback. Luke Brooks is back at 6. and Nofaluma's listed in the reserves, and he is a small chance to play. What else have I typed up here? The Rabbitohs have been average as fuck. They were pumped by the Raiders last week. They should improve this week, though. They're not shit every single week. They're just highly inconsistent. But at the same time, the Tigers have been close to competitive, and they're also back pretty close to full strength. Interesting stat. In the last 4 games, the Tigers have covered the line against the Rabbitohs. So they usually do a good job keeping it close. So
it's a pretty
I
close
do,
head-to-head game as well. Like just
yeah. Look, 7.5. They I guess the bookies have got the Rabbitohs to win by more than a converted try, and I guess I could see that happening. But the one thing with South this year, they're like the opposites of the Titans. They get out to big leads and they just let teams come back. Like they're not 13 plussing many teams. So I do have a play on this one. But before I share that, do you have any thoughts on this game?
I'm just surprised that the Tigers are only paying 275 when they're basically 14th on the ladder.
Yeah, I
So
think they're a cheeky chance.
yeah,
Honestly, I think they're a chance. I guess if you're someone who believes in how teams perform at certain grounds, that it's not
yeah,
good for the Tigers. They actually lose quite a lot at Core Stadium, but I don't know. I don't really buy too much into that type of bullshit anyway. But here's my play. I've got a $3.20 same game multi on this game. I've got 3 legs. So the first one is for the Tigers plus 4.5 in the second half. That's probably the most risky play because you
yep,
can't do any alternate lines on the second half. That's the riskiest play I've got in this one. But the Rabbitohs have been poor in the second half of the matches this year. And it's like whether they're winning by 20 points or whether they're losing, they allow the opposition run riot. So last week, they were down against Canberra, and then Canberra just kept, ramming their cocks into them in the second half and blew them out.
yeah,
Previous weeks, even their last game against the Tigers came home and got them. Against the Warriors, they were up by heaps. They're up by like 20 something points, and then they only won the game, I think, at 4 points or 6 points. Like even against Manly only had 12 players for 76 minutes, and they let Manly come back and score some points. Like,
there you go.
yeah, so the Rabbitohs not so great in the second half, so I'm taking that. I'm also taking over 35.5 points. So 9 straight Rabbitohs games this year have gone over this total, which is
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
crazy. And that's partly because the Rabbitohs defensively aren't great at all. They also make a lot of errors. They make a lot of mistakes and they give up the ball on the wrong side of the field. And with Tigers games, 3 straight games, they've gone over this total as well. So,
yeah,
like I told you earlier, there's a lot of points been happening over the past few weeks. I'm taking over 35.5 is quite safe. These teams, this is also their second matchup this year. Their first game this year, the Rabbitohs lost. The Tigers won 23-22. So 45 points were scored in that game.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
And I think something similar or even more because they scored 45 points while not many points were being scored across the competition. So there's potential for even more with that opening up. And my last leg, it pays fuck all if you took it as a single. But when you add it to this multi, it actually jacks the odds up. It's South plus 12.5. And that's purely just to drive the value up. So I've got here that South should bounce back because they got thumped last week by Canberra. And I do think even if Souths do lose, it's only going to be close because the Tigers have only beat one team by 13 plus this year, and that was the Bulldogs last week. The other 2 wins they had were by 1 point. They beat Parramatta by 1, and then they versed Rabbitohs and they beat them by 1. So it's not like they're a dangerous team, and Souths are so much
yeah.
better than the Bulldogs. So if they lose, I don't think it'd be my 13 plus anyway. So that's
Do you
$3.20.
do you see value in going head to head for the Tigers or even Tigers 1-12?
Um, if I'm going to pick the Tigers to win, I go straight to the 1-12. What's the one
Yeah,
to
okay.
12? Like $4?
$4.20. It's
Mm.
not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad if you play it as a single.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I think they're a good chance. Or even if you get on a bookie that has early payouts, or if you're leading, I think Bluebet has if you're leading by 6 by half time, it's a payout. Like you could just
Okay,
take the Tigers head to head if there's an early payout, like a promo like that. And I think
yeah,
that's good value too. What do we have? We've got the Sharks v Roosters. So this is going to be highly competitive. Probably the closest game of the round, I imagine. It's at Saturday night at 7:35. Cronulla are the favourites at $1.80 because they're at home at PointsBet Stadium. The Roosters are at $2. The line is 1.5. Total points is 40.5 points. The stats I've got: Cronulla have won 8 straight games at home. 12 of the last 13 teams who have played Penrith, they failed to cover the line last week. So we're talking about the Roosters.
Yep.
They failed to cover the line the following week. Sorry. 5 of the last 6 games at PointsBet Stadium have also gone under the total points. If you're looking at the lineup, Will Kennedy is back for Cronulla Sharks from his suspension, and Satili Tupanua returns for the Roosters. I've got here that the Sharks are back to their winning ways, whilst the Roosters are looking to bounce back after being dominated last week against the Penrith Panthers. So I do think it'll be very close. But history tells us if you verse Penrith, you don't play that well next week. So Penrith play at such an intensity, they just suck the life out of you. And it seems like it's hard for teams to bounce back the following week, even though they would want to.
Yeah,
it's just
they're just fatigued.
I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be a fatigue thing. I'm not too sure. So with that, I do have another same game multi for this one. It's $3. So the first leg, I've got Cronulla to win. And the reason why I've picked them to win, it's not because they're playing great. It's purely because they're animals at home. When they're at home, they're a different beast. I've also got under 47.5 points. As I just called out, 5 out of their 6 games have gone under the total, and the total being 40.5. Playing it safe and adding an extra 6 points on there, so an extra try, under 47.5. And I'm purely backing Cronulla's defense to slow down the Roosters. The Roosters only scored 12 points against Penrith last week. I think against Cronulla, they might be able to score 18, but maybe not. So Cronulla's defense is very good at home. And I've also got the Roosters plus 18.5. And that's purely them just respecting the Roosters. They're a well-coached team, and I think they will keep it within 3 tries. Like, even if you lose by 13 plus, like it's a thumping, but 18 plus, it's like that's catastrophic. And I don't see that happening. So that's how I see that one going. That's only $3. What are your thoughts?
I actually like that bet. I might actually throw some money on that one.
I'm sure you will, because I'm going to share it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. Kicking off your seedy Sunday. Kicking it off with a game that you don't want to touch. It's the Bulldogs versus Dragons. Dragons at $1.54. The Bulldogs at $2.50. The line is 4.5. Total points are at 38.5. The Dragons won 24-18 last week. The Dogs have lost 3 straight games against teams outside of the top 8. So they've versed shit teams. Still managed to lose them all. Josh Adokar is back for the Bulldogs, though. And for the Dragons, Andrew McCulloch, he returns from injury. I've got no play on the rubbish teams. I think the Dragons should win, but they also tend to play worse against bad teams.
It's freaking weird seeing Adokar's name under the Bulldogs. Just not used to it.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange, but I've got no play on this one because the Dragons should win, but they should have won against the Titans, for example. Titans had lost 5 games, 7 games in a row or something, and the Dragons still managed to lose that, which is fucked. But the Bulldogs at the same time, they find ways to lose games all the time. But like I said, the Dragons play to their competition, so I don't want to touch that at all.
Yep.
Me being absolute degenerate, I will, but not one that I'm most confident in. So choosing to avoid that one. But the final game in the round, I do have a bet on, and that's the Raiders versus the Eels. Canberra Raiders are $2.60 outsiders. Parramatta $1.50. The line is 5.5, which is a good line to take if you like handicapping. Total points are over 40.5. So the Raiders were excellent last week against Souths. They've actually won 3 straight games. Form's on their side. Parramatta did beat Manly, but they didn't play well.
Yeah.
Another interesting stat, Maddog. We've got Canberra have won 9 of their last 10 games against the Eels at home.
Okay, I like that stat.
Which is pretty huge.
Yeah.
And we've got some big inclusions for Canberra as well. So Jamal Fogarty, he's playing his first game for the Raiders. He's the halfback that the Titans gave up and fucked up their season.
So he's going to want to prove a point as well.
He is, but the risk there is coming back from a knee injury, so we don't know if there's going to be some rust.
Yep.
But Jared Croker is back in the centres. So Jared Croker has been the captain for the Canberra Raiders for years. This year, he could barely get a run. That's purely
Okay.
because he's getting old and they have younger players with more talent. But everyone in the team absolutely loves him. Like
Yep.
they play harder when he plays. Um, so they'll be pretty keen, I think, to put on a good performance with him in the centres. The other in is Xavier Savage is starting at fullback for Canberra. Um, he scored an awesome try last week. He's fast as fuck. He's got great
Yep.
potential. For Parramatta, Wonga Blake is back on the wing, which is a pretty big thing. So for Parramatta, they have this curse for anyone who plays on the left wing gets injured. It's like the last
Yeah.
five
Okay.
players
Yep.
who played there all got injured,
Yep.
which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Wonga Blake is back, which is good. It solves one of the problems for Parramatta. But I think in this one, the Raiders are a chance for an upset.
Would
I
you
do.
do
Yeah.
Blake, Rapana, and say Savage anytime for a roughie?
I think for Parramatta, Wonga Blake's definitely someone I would touch.
Yep.
It all depends on which wing Rapana's going to line up on. Like I've picked this
Yeah.
guy
Right.
heaps, but his try scoring rate's actually pretty poor this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He's
and
fucked me
reason,
over a few times.
yeah, and the reason being is because he plays so many different positions.
Yep.
He'll play from the wing halfway through the game. He moves to fullback. Sometimes he plays in the middle. And for Canberra, the problem with Canberra, right, is their attack is so forward orientated. Like their
Yep.
forwards actually score a lot of tries, which is value.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's hard to predict who's going to score them. So,
They could go. Yeah. It could be anyone really. Type thing.
yeah. So Jordan Rapana, he's played 9 games this year. He's only scored once.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he's
You
like
know,
one of the favorites as well
he's
to
yeah,
score
like
tries. So
yeah, the sports
yeah.
bet fuck you because they always put him up there. It's like he's got to be a chance, right? His odds are
Yep.
always short, but he's only scored once. You know, the Canberra Raiders' highest try scorer has 4 this year,
There
and
you
we've
go.
already done 11 rounds.
Yep.
The other interesting one, Matt Tomoko, is one of them.
Yep.
He scored 4 tries this year, but I think 3 of them were in one game, right?
Jeez. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
realistically, he
Alright.
scored in 2 out of 11 games. The other person who scored 4 tries is Hudson Young, and Hudson Young is a forward,
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
which goes to show just how fucked it is betting on try scorers for
Yep.
Canberra. So I couldn't tell you who's going to score. I can tell you if one of their forwards is going to score. That's for sure.
Well, how's this? Eels head to head. Blake try scorer and over 40.5 points.
I do like the overs. I like Blake to score a try, but I
Eels
think
head to head, bit of a
I
risk.
think I think Eels head to head. It's a look. I think it's a risk, but all like gambling is a risk, right?
Well,
But
yep.
what you've got to think about is if you're going to take Parramatta to win at $1.50,
$1.50. Yeah.
you're basically saying if they played 100 games, these two teams where they currently are, you're
Yep.
saying that Parramatta is going to win 66 out of 100 games
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
at those odds.
Yep.
So it all comes down to whether you think they will win more than 66 games out of 100 or they won't. And
Yep.
I honestly think this is a 50-50 game. Like I said, Parramatta haven't been playing well. Raiders have won 3 straight. They're playing in Canberra, and Canberra have won 9 of their last 10 games against the Eels in Canberra.
Yeah. I see
So,
what you're saying. Yep.
so I'm
Yep.
thinking like if you're going to do a same game multi, if you want a roughie, you could
Yep.
just straight up take Raiders to win,
Yep.
Blake to score,
And
um,
40.5
and then you pick
overs.
the overs, for
Yep.
example, total points overs. That's what I would do for a roughie. But I've got a $3 same game for this one. I've got Canberra plus 6.5 because even when Parramatta has won this year, it's always been close margins. They haven't been blowing teams out. They
Yep.
let teams back in. So I'm taking Raiders plus 6.5, but I do have a feeling they're going to win. I'll do a roughie for this game, which will have the Raiders to win, and
Yeah.
maybe
Cool.
even 13 plus. I think there's a chance that they can blow them out. Total points over 34.5. I do think this goes over 40, but keeping it safe for this multi, 34.5 points. Parramatta have had very high scoring games this year. They're trying to outscore teams and stop them, really. And I'm also taking the Raiders plus 6.5 in the first half as well. And
Yeah. I
there's a
do
little bit
like
of
that
juice.
actually.
and that comes to $3. But if you wanted to play it a little bit safer, you could change the total line for the Raiders to 12.5, which gives
Yep.
them a 2-try margin. But I think 6.5 is plenty, and you get pretty good odds for that 6.5. Given that the line's only 5.5, I think you get like $1.70 for that leg alone. But yeah, I think Raiders are a sneaky chance for an upset. And I think who was the other team that I think? Fucking the Rabbitohs game, the Tigers. Was it the
Yeah.
Tigers?
It was
Yeah.
the Tigers and the Raiders.
Yeah. Tigers and the Raiders are the ones I think are due for a cheeky upset. I don't see the Cowboys getting the upset. I don't see Manly or Knights and Warriors. Fuck. Whoever wins is an upset because they're shit anyway.
That's another bit of a nice head-to-head roughie there. Is Tigers and the Raiders. Throw them in there for two-legger.
I know. We're looking at a little bit of juice. So those were my same game multis. All up, you're getting $119 if you power play that. So quite a bit of value.
Mate. I'll be
I
getting
know
on
you'll
that.
be getting into it. But yeah, that basically wraps up all the tips. We're just close to an hour. I know it's getting late, but I want to say thank you for jumping on. It's been a lot of fun. I know it's not going to be the last time.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be on again, especially do one of those Friday night ones as well.
Oh yeah, we'll do some post game reviews Friday night, Saturday night. We'll just talk about how our bets have gone, what we think of the game. So
yeah,
no, I'm pretty keen for that. But no, I'm pretty happy with the selection I've made for this week. Pretty confident I'll get at least 3 out of these 4. We'll see how we go. If we get all 4 of these, we're going to be singing, mate. But for anyone listening who's made it this far, the Discord link is in the description. That's where all the bets are going to be shared if you didn't take time to note these down. But the Discord has free tips, a whole range of sports. We've got a lot of banter. We've got a great engaged community. And you're missing out if you're not in there. But Maddog, thank you for tonight. I'll see you in the chat, brother.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
No worries, bro.
All right.
Ciao.
Cheers.